Amigos y amigas, Mexican Soccer Show Express Thursday edition. Just a couple of topics for us to talk about, get you all caught up with news. Today with me, Mr. Tom Marshall from ESPN FC. Tom, how are you?
I'm good, Wiso. Can't complain here in Guadalajara. A lot of work on as ever, but all good.
Yes, definitely. Tom, I know we've had some problems with you and connecting. You weren't on the Mexican Soccer Show a couple of weeks back. You're moving, and we finally got you. You got some internet, and we're ready to go, right?
Yeah, I found some internet at last for at least a little while. So we'll see how it goes, but hopefully it's a strong connection.
All right. Well, we'll keep it short. Big news coming out, especially from you, Mr. Tom. It's just kind of hidden today. The internet and also on obviously ESPN FC and here with the Mexican Soccer. What is going on? From your heading of the article, sources say that Mexican clubs wary of breaking FIFA rules and signing U.S. teams. This is a big deal. Most of you fans are going to be hearing about this, in the coming minutes, especially through all the media sites coming to Tom and asking him for interviews. And we got him right here at Mexican Soccer Show. Tom, what's going on with the clubs? Something about Regulation 19 in FIFA's book. Get us, of what's happening.
Well, basically, I found out earlier in the year that the Mexican Federation aren't registering young players from the United States.
Okay.
When I say young players under the age of 18, they've suddenly been scared to register them because of what happened with Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, and Real Madrid. Barcelona got 2 transfer window ban, and Real Madrid and Atletico have got suspended bans at the minute. So basically what's happening is, as we know, Mexican clubs go up to the United States, they're scouting hard, and they bring players down. But the fact is, it actually breaks Article 19 of FIFA's regulations on international transfers. I mean, you're not allowed to bring down minors. They're not allowed to cross country lines. So in principle, what this could be is a widespread violation of one of the FIFA norms. And when you put it into I think it would be almost every single Liga MX club.
Yeah.
I mean, there might be the odd exception, but what it could lead to potentially, obviously, this story that I've done, it's not a kind of answer. It's not saying this is Mexican club should do this, should do that. For me, what I wanted to get through with the story is it's a question. It's supposed to be, this is going on. Is it right? Is it right? What should happen here? Should FIFA investigate? Should they give most of it? It does look like they violated the rule, and obviously, from what I've heard from my sources, are now scared to register American players basically under the age of 18.
Yeah, well, the regulation says, like you says, international transfer of players are only permitted if the player is over the age of 18, and there's some exceptions to the rules. For example, if the player's parents move to the country in which the new club is located, the transfer takes place with the territory of the European Union, EU, European Economic Area, EEA, and the player's age between 16 and 18, and the player lives no further than 50 kilometers from a national border and the club which the player wishes to be registered. Which, let's look at Ventura Alvarado's case, right? Which is one of them is mostly known, especially here in Phoenix, Arizona. Went young, violating all those rules, and that's where there's a question if FIFA's looking at it through your sources, Tom. I know that in your article you state that you're looking for FIFA's response. What can you tell us? Is there an investigation going on in Mexico or looking at the teams and of this situation?
Well, all we know is that FIFA are very aware of it. I mean, FIFA confirmed they know this is going on. And you imagine that, considering what's happened in Spain with Barcelona, Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid, you imagine that they are going to start investigating. I mean, they wouldn't confirm or deny that they are investigating. But, I mean, this is out there. They know about it. And once they know about it, I spoke to lawyers about this. I spoke to people with, full understanding of the legal side of this argument. And I think that FIFA pretty much have to investigate. I mean, but I think we said there's 2 strands to this issue, and I think this is the important thing. The first one is the legal side, and you look at the Article 19, you look at the exceptions, you look at what's happened with the Mexican clubs, and you think it seems likely or it's possible, that Mexican clubs have violated this norm on a wide scale. But I think there's also a moral side, and I think Mexican clubs are going to come out in the next couple of days, and I think they're going to be stressing the fact that a lot of these kids that come down from the United States to Mexico are Mexican Americans. They speak Spanish, most of them. They've grown up in Mexican families, and the parents are actually given permission to go. Yeah. And the Mexican citizens, they're actually Mexican citizens. So they'll argue, what right does FIFA have to stop a kid who's actually a Mexican, born in the US, travelling across international borders? But FIFA's rule doesn't say anything about that. FIFA's rule was brought in to stop young kids moving away from the families at an early age.
And you bring up a great point, because if a kid is in Tijuana, right, and he wants to go to la Ciudad de Mexico in the same situation, it's just because of the international rule, and that's where, you know, it's a little bit different when these kids are, you know, in San Diego, are going back and forth between the border and in and out just because they were born in the U.S. It shouldn't apply to them as, for example, taking a kid from Argentina, taking a kid from Brazil to Europe.
It gets complicated because it actually, this is the point of the story. Nationality doesn't actually matter.
Okay.
In what FIFA decides. So actually, it's the same. If it's residents of the parents that really, that from what I studied, that they look at. So, but there is also an exception. So Tijuana can scout in San Diego, no problem,
because of the 50-kilometer.
Yeah, because of the 50-kilometer rule. What Tijuana couldn't do is go to Ohio.
Okay.
You know, they couldn't do that. So it is a difficult one to understand. It is a complex situation, but you know, it's a case of, I think that this has gone on for so many years as well. So you can imagine the number of cases that there must be. I mean, it must be over 100. I mean, it must be. So I think that. Yeah, I mean, I think there's an investigation for FIFA to do, and then they have to make a decision, and they have to make, I think, two decisions. One, are they going to punish Mexican clubs? And number two, are they going to make an exception? And they're going to make exception because there are special circumstances between the Mexican Americans. I mean, obviously, Wiso, if you're a Mexican American brought up in the US with a Mexican family, it's not a big deal. It's not a massive deal to go to Mexico. But then there's a moral point of view as well. For me, I think it's one thing to go to Pachuca, who have an absolutely excellent youth system, education and stuff, and one of the lesser Liga MX teams who maybe don't have that and maybe don't treat the youngsters as they should.
So what's the rule is to stop, you know, young kids in separating family, as to like maybe, you know, the separation of families. And this is, are you seeing most of these players, you know, are young, you know, their whole families moving over, for example, in the case of Ventura Alvarado or anybody else? Or is it just leaving them at 14 years old?
They just leave the family. I mean, obviously, I imagine in many situations, like the father or the mother are big, you know, Mexico fans, big Liga MX fans, and, you know, Chivas comes calling or America comes calling, and they're, you know, taken aback, like, son, this is your opportunity to make it as a professional soccer player. And so I think every case is different, but I think that's what's happened. And you know, like I said, it could be a massive issue. It just depends now how FIFA want to deal with it.
Well, there you go. The next step will probably be FIFA, and like you said, they're looking at this. It's not like it's just brought up. It's something that's been going around. Do you think because FIFA hasn't done anything now, they're just kind of sliding in to see if there is going to be a bigger problem if someone complains, if something comes up, or do you think, you know, that something's going to come down soon?
Yeah, it's a strange one. I mean, like I said, a lot of people didn't want to speak on record about this subject, but I did find out that I believe there's a club that are trying to get a change to the rule. I don't have the full details on it, but I believe there is already a Mexican club who is wanting to try and change this rule and to make an exception for the Mexican American players. So let's see where that takes us. You know, I mean, that's going to be the interesting one, but it's just unfortunate, and I think that nobody actually wanted to speak, but I think moving forward, people now, you know, will be talking about this issue, and I think people are going to come out. And I think what Mexican clubs should do is get together, organise themselves, and go to FIFA and say, look, these are special circumstances. This isn't like, I think one quote in my story, an African player from the Congo going to Russia, age 13.
Exactly.
In terms of what a culture shock that would be, and the language shock, the way people live, you know, it's not that kind of deal. The deal here is that it's Mexican citizens going to play in Mexico, even though they're from the United States. So, it's a complex issue, but it's interesting, and I thought it was worth putting the question out there, and that's why I decided to chase this story, basically.
No, definitely an excellent story. Something we don't think about and bring the light of, and if there is an issue. And you're right. You know what can the clubs do? Thank you, Tom. I know you're a very busy man, and I'm sure you got a lot of interviews today because of this story. Appreciate your time, guys. Please follow us here at the Mexican Soccer Show on Facebook and on Twitter. We'll be going on also the Mexican Soccer Show at 7 p.m. Pacific time on Monday. Gracias, Tom, in Guadalajara, and we'll hear from you. Keep us here at the Mexican Soccer Show.